We slog back to the train in silence. In the hallway outside my door, Hamish gives my shoulder a pat and says, "You could do a lot worse, you know." He heads off to his compartment, taking the smell of wine with him. In my room, I remove my sodden slippers, my wet robe and pajamas. There are more in the drawer, but I just crawl between the covers in my underclothes. I stare into the darkness, thinking about my conversation with Hamish. Everything he said was true about the capital's expectations, my future with PETA, even his last comment. Of course, I could do a lot worse than PETA. That isn't really the point, though, is it? One of the few freedoms we have in District 12 is the right to marry who we want, or not marry at all. And now even that has been taken away from me. I wonder if President Snow will insist we have children. If we do, they'll have to face the reaping each year. And wouldn't it be something to see a child of not one, but two victors chosen for the arena? Victor's children have been in the ring before. It always causes a lot of excitement and generates talk about how the odds are not in that family's favor. But it happens too frequently to just be about odds. Gail's convinced the Capitol does it on purpose, rigs the drawing to add extra drama. Given all the trouble I've caused, I've probably guaranteed any child of mine a spot in the games. I think of Hamish, unmarried, no family, blotting out the world with drink. He could have had his choice of any woman in the district. He chose solitude. Not solitude, that sounds too perfect. More like solitary confinement. It was because of having been in the arena, he knew it was better than risking the alternative. I had a taste of that alternative when they called Prim's name on reaping day, and I watched her walk to the stage to her death. But as her sister, I could take her place, an option forbidden to our mother. My mind searches frantically for a way out. I can't let President Snow condemn me to this, even if it means taking my own life. Before that, though, I'd try to run away. What would they do if I simply vanished, disappeared into the woods, and never came out? Could I even manage to take everyone I love with me? Start a new life deep in the wild? Highly unlikely, but not impossible. I shake my head to clear it. This is not the time to be making wild escape plans. I must focus on the victory tour. Too many people's fates depend on my giving a good show. Dawn comes before sleep does. And there's Effie rapping on my door. I pull on whatever clothes are on the top of the drawer and drag myself to the dining room. I don't see what a difference it makes when I get up, since this is a travel day. But then it turns out that yesterday's makeover was just to get me to the station. Today, I'll get the works from my prep team. Why? It's too cold for anything to show, I grumble. Not in District 11, says Effie. District 11, our first stop. I'd rather start in any other district, since this was Rue's home. But that's not how the victory tour works. Usually it kicks off in 12, then goes in a descending district order to 1, followed by the capital. The victor's district is skipped and saved for very last. Since 12 puts on a least fabulous celebration, usually it's just a dinner for the tributes and a victory rally in the square, where nobody looks like they're having any fun. It's probably best to get us out of the way as soon as possible. This year, for the first time since Hamish won, the final stop on the tour will be 12, and the capital will spring for the festivities. I try to enjoy the food like Hazel said. The kitchen staff clearly wants to please me. They prepared my favorite, lamb stew with dried plums, among other delicacies. Orange juice, a pot of steaming hot chocolate awaits at my place at the table. So I eat a lot. The meal is beyond reproach. But I can't say I enjoyed any of it. I'm also annoyed that no one but Effie and I are showing up. Where's everyone else? I ask. Who knows where Hamish is, Effie says. I didn't really expect Hamish because he's probably just getting to bed. Sid was up late working on organizing your garment car. He must have over 100 outfits for you. Your evening clothes are exquisite. And Pete's team is probably asleep. Doesn't he need prepping? I ask. Not in the way you do, Effie replies. What does that mean? It means I get to spend the morning having the hair ripped off my body while Peter sleeps in. I hadn't thought much about it, but in the arena, at least some of the boys got to keep their body hair, whereas none of the girls did. I can remember Peter now, as I bathed him by the stream, very blonde in the sunlight, whence the mud and blood had been washed away. Only his face remained completely smooth. Not one of the boys grew a beard, and many were old enough to. I wonder what they did to them. I feel ragged. My prep team seems in worse condition, knocking back coffee and sharing brightly colored little pills. As far as I can tell, they never get up before noon unless there's some sort of national emergency. Like my leg hair. I was so happy when it grew back in, too, as if it were a sign that things might return to normal. I run my fingers over the soft, curly down on my legs and give myself over to my team. None of them are up to their usual clatter or chatter, so I hear every strand being yanked from its follicle. I have to soak in a tub full of thick, unpleasant-smelling solution while my face and hair are plastered with creams. 2 more baths follow in other, less offensive concoctions. I'm plucked, scoured, massaged, and anointed until I'm raw. Flavis tilts my chin up and sighs. It's a shame Cinna said no alterations on you. Yes, they could have really made you into something special, says Octava. When she's older, says Vienna, almost grimly, then he'll have to let us. Do what? Blow up my lips like President Snow? Tattoo my breasts? Dye my skin magenta and implant gems in it? Cut decorative patterns on my face? Give me a curved talons or cat whiskers? I saw all these things and more on the people in the Capitol. Do they really have no idea how freakish they look to the rest of us?